sleepers. You're not sure which is worse, because I dropped your hand while dancing, left you out there standing, crestfallen on the land in champagne problems. Your mom's ring in your pocket, my picture in your wallet. Your heart was glass, I dropped it. Champagne problems. You told your family for a reason you couldn't keep it in. Your sister splashed out on the bottle. Now no one's celebrating. Dom Perignon, you brought it. No crowd of friends applauded. Your hometown skeptics called it champagne problems. You had a speech, you're speechless. Love slipped beyond your reaches, and I couldn't give a reason. Champagne problems. Your Midas touch on the Chevy door, November flush and your flannel cure. This dorm was once a madhouse. I made a joke, well it's made for me. How evergreen our group of friends. Don't think we'll say that word again, and soon they'll have the nerve to deck the halls that we once walked through. One for the money, two for the show. I never was ready, so I watch you go. Sometimes you just don't know the answer till someone's on their knees and asks you. She would have made such a lovely bride. What a shame she's fucked in the head, they said, but you'll find the real thing instead. She'll patch up your tapestry that I shred and hold your hand while dancing. Never leave you standing, crestfallen on the landing with champagne problems. Your mom's ring in your pocket, her picture in your wallet. You won't remember all my champagne problems. You won't remember all my champagne problems. Betty, I won't make assumptions about why you switched your homeroom, but I think it's 'cause of me. Betty, one time I was riding on my skateboard when I passed your house. It's like I couldn't breathe. You heard the rumors from Inez. You can't believe a word she says most times, but this time it was true. The worst thing that I ever did was what I did to you. But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go fuck myself, or lead me to the garden? In the garden, would you trust me if I told you it was just a summer thing? I'm only 17, I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. Betty, I know where it all went wrong. Your favorite song was playing from the far side of the gym. you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go fuck myself? Or lead me to the garden? In the garden, would you trust me if I told you it was just a summer thing? I'm only 17, I don't know anything, but I know I'll miss you. I was walking home on broken cobblestones, just thinking of you when she pulled up like a figment of my worst intentions. She said, James, get in, let's drive. Those days turned into nights, slept next to her, but I dreamt of you all summer long. Betty, I'm here on your doorstep, and I planned it out for weeks now, but it's finally sinking in. Betty, right now is the last time I can dream about what happens when you see my face again. The only thing I wanna do is make it up to you. So I showed up at your party. Yeah, I showed up at your party. Yeah, I showed up at your party. Will you have me? Will you love me? Will you kiss me on the porch in front of all your stupid friends? If you kiss me, will it be just like I dreamed it? Will it patch your broken wings? I'm only 17. I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. Standing in your cardigan, kissing in my car again. Stopped at a street light, you know I miss you. Vintage tea, brand new phone, high heels on, cobblestones. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. Sequin smile, black lipstick, sensual politics. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you, dancing in your Levi's, drunk under a street light.
Good morning, and thank you for coming to honor the life of beautiful Asha. At this time, we are about to begin the service, so we are going to need to ask everyone who is currently in line to find a seat. There will be time to greet the family. We know that the line is quite long, but there will be time to greet the family after the service. But at this time, we do ask everyone who is staying for the service to please take a seat at this time.
Talking about the way things change, and my family lives in a different state. And if you don't know what to make of this, then we will not relate. So if you don't
And we have a number of people that are coming in, so if everyone can scoot to the middle, that'll allow the outside seats, unless you're saving a seat. If everyone can scoot to the middle, that'll allow the outside seats.
Good morning. My name is Pete. I'm the youth pastor here. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. On behalf of the Weir family, I want to thank everyone and welcome everyone who traveled near and far from Europe, California, to Limerick, Pennsylvania. Thank you for being here. Everyone who's tuning in, live streaming, it means so much, and this is such a testament to the angel that was Asha. It means the world that you could be here with us to celebrate her, to honor her. And to begin, we are going to sing one of her favorite worship songs, and then we will continue with service.
It's so clear and it's so evident that Asha was so loved because we just had to go overtime to just stack a lot of new rows and chairs for you guys. And it's just, it's a hard day. But one truth that we can hold on to is that Asha's in paradise right now. She's in paradise, and she's worshiping the Father. And so what I'm going to invite all of us to do is to stand up as we also join Asha this morning in worshiping the Father as well.
Come, let us sing to the Lord. Come, let us bow down before Him. His banner is love over us. His mercies are new every morning, and I'll sing, oh. So we lift you high, forever lift you high, high within our hearts, high within our minds. And Jesus, you alone, a rock, a cornerstone, high within our hearts, high within our minds. No, I won't let the rocks cry out in our place. And we return the breath you gave with our praise. No, I won't let the rocks cry out in my place. And we return the breath you gave with our praise. Oh, I won't let the rocks cry out in my place. Oh, we return the breath you gave with our praise. So we lift you high, forever lift you high, high within our hearts, high within our minds. And Jesus, you alone, a rock, a cornerstone, high within our hearts, high within our minds. Oh, high within our hearts, high within our minds, we give you praise. You may be seated.
All right. Today is the celebration of life service for Asha Weir, and that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to celebrate her life. We're going to honor her, cherish her, and remember the irreplaceable gift that she was. I had the privilege of being Asha's youth pastor for 6, arguably best friend for 9. I met Asha when she was in 6th grade, and I was amazed by her intelligence and her desire to see and travel the world. As a middle schooler, she would tell me how she loved the uniqueness of Ireland and her family amidst her friend group, and how she always had a passport entirely different from everybody else, how she just wanted to travel the world. Her social awareness and effortless ability to be a good friend was the most important or impressive thing I'd ever seen, and her maturity was just always levels above anyone in the room, unfortunately, including myself. I'll never forget when I first began working here, I was strictly focused on middle schoolers, and I'm sure a lot of you can assume middle school is babysitting. It's herding cats, don't be an idiot, don't break this, actually think before you do something. And one Sunday morning, I had just had it with this one kid, this one boy, it was probably Thomas or Trent. And I was new to this role, so I figured I'd be that older brother role. And I went over there and I started, wrestling, grappling with him a little bit. And I did this move that my brother taught me where you wrap their arms around their back, you stand behind and you pull a little bit. And it's one of those say uncle moves. And in my mind, I'm saying, he's gotta give in, gotta give in. I'm like, will you give in? Will you grow up? Will you grow up? And of course he looks up and goes, never. And so I pull a little bit tighter, a little bit more. And as I'm pulling, I make eye contact with Asha in the corner saying, will you grow up, please? And she was polite about it, which I appreciated. But even as a middle schooler, Asha was always putting me in my place, reminding me who the actual adult in the room was. But another example of maturity and understanding at such a young age was when she was in my 8th grade leadership team. I brought them all together, and I wanted to emphasize that faith is something that you decide for you. It's not me, it's not your parents. You decide so that you can grow in your faith and you can let it be wholly, truly yours. So I got them together and I asked them this hypothetical. I remember saying, hey guys, just hypothetically, if I were to come to you and say, you know what, I love my job, I love you guys, but I don't really believe this whole faith thing anymore. What would that do? What would that do to your faith? Can you guys tell me if that would affect you at all? And I could see the wheels spinning in everyone in the room. They started looking around, looking at each other, looking up, just trying to imagine what the right answer would be. Everyone was looking around. Except Asha. As soon as I finished the question, she just locked eyes. She already knew the answer. And after about 5 or 7 seconds of awkward silence, she said 2 words. She just said, it wouldn't. It wouldn't affect her at all. Because as an 8th grader, Asha had bothered her mom and dad so much to drive her to and from church any chance she got to use CCV as an excuse to learn and develop such a strong foundation of faith at such a young age. And knowing that it was hers and hers alone, and throughout all the struggles of high school, she found herself amongst one of the most incredible communities at Pepperdine with friends like Coco and Hope. Asha took responsibility for herself, for her faith, and for others, and we are all way better for it. To watch Asha grow up from 6th grade to a senior in Pepperdine is one of my greatest honors. From Sunday nights here in this room, all the way to international missions trips, from Belize to the Dominican Republic to Guatemala, our last names are W's. And so we would always sit next to each other on the flights, cracking up at the most ridiculous subtitle-filled foreign movies that didn't make sense. And I was always throwing things at other passengers, pointing at Asha, to which she would affectionately please say once again, just grow up. But she always added the please. Again, the politeness never ruled. Throughout high school and college, she continued to mature, continued to excel, and had everyone on the edge of their seats with what she was going to do with her life. And we were all cheering for her so hard. We were always cheering for her. And the thing about Asha is that she was the easiest person to cheer on because she was always cheering for everyone else. She was the biggest supporter, biggest encourager, and confidant. She knew what you loved, what you liked, would always send you recommendations for restaurants to go to or songs to listen to, specifically if it was Chance the Rapper. Just blast that as loud as possible. That may have been how I started this morning to get the vibes right. But that's the thing about Asha and what everyone in this room has in common right now. Though we may not know each other the way we knew her, we all experience the same version and expression of boundless hope. Some of you may know Asha's name means hope. And what I love about this not being a sorrowfully focused service is that faith, please hear me say, if you let it, actually helps play a major role in the way that we process such an unbelievable loss. Genesis 1 tells the creation story in verse 26 says, let us make them in our image. Asha was made in the image of God. But she wasn't just made in the image, she carried that image by being the strongest expression of hope that we have ever experienced. With every conversation, every situation, every hug, every smile, just by being herself. Everyone in this room experienced a unique expression of God and his desire for us to know hope because we knew Asha. Similarly, everyone who met Jesus, more than likely, they were very aware that they weren't perfect. But more than that, they knew that they didn't have to be in order to be loved. Asha had that ability to create in whoever she was with a welcoming, celebratory, focused hope that you matter and you are so important. Asha did that because, like Jesus, she understood there is power in humility, power in serving, and power in shifting a pain-filled perspective towards a hopeful understanding. Maybe not with all the right answers, but at least in the right direction. Asha always left us leaving in the right direction. So many things about Asha I could talk about. And as I reflect on my time with her and as I watched her mature and grow in her intellectual ability and her understanding of faith, so many times I was trying to convince students to understand something. In the moment, I couldn't tell, but now it's so obviously clear. Asha naturally embodied nearly every single thing that I was trying to teach them. Like I mentioned, humility, for example. Mark 10:45 says, "The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." In other words, Jesus came knowing that his time, his energy, his focus was a sacrifice for others, regardless of the situation or what he would get in return. Asha did that because that's just who she was. Another verse, Philippians 2:5-8, Paul writes, "In your relationship with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be used at his advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant. Being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself." Asha, one of the most humble people I've ever met. And when I say humble, I don't mean nimble or frail or weak. When I say humble, I mean the absolute strongest version of someone who knows the power that they have and are so selective with the influence in which they use it. A theologian once was asked to describe Jesus, the Son of God, the most powerful man on earth, to describe him in one word. And of all the words, looking at all the stories, all the parables of Jesus' life, the theologian said the word calm. Calm. This past summer, Asha came in my office being caught up. Such a calm elegance. Now, was Jesus so calm that he appeared careless, weak, powerless, unaware? Jesus was the strongest, smartest, most aware individual in any room, but he used that power to make others feel like they belonged in the room with him. Asha did the same thing. She used her maturity to speak wisdom. She used her humor to ease any discomfort, and she used her humility to direct others to hope. She humbly led us into hope despite whatever we were going through. It was never, ever, ever about her. We, on the other hand, we had so much hope for who Asha was going to be. We had hope for her graduating from Pepperdine. We had hope of where she would end up in London. We had hope in the wife and the mom she would be. I had hope that she would one day let me work for her because of the business boss woman that she would be, fill in the blank. And she would say, once you grow up, then you can apply. We all had so much hope for this woman on the cusp of her future because of the impact that she had had on us at the age of 21. At the age of 21. But Asha didn't just appear this way. Though her uncles describe her as naturally patient and generous and kind and loving, the depth to Asha's character was built from struggle and grit and uncontrollable circumstances that challenged her way earlier than anyone should ever have to go through. And as I was going through the text, which I'm sure a lot of us have done, the text, the pictures, I found something in 2018 that speaks to the heart of Asha, and I hope that it will bring you peace. In 2017, one of Asha's best friends passed away. And I found the other day a text from Asha 1 year later, when she was in 10th grade, a poem that she wrote in reflection of her best friend passing away. Asha sent me this poem, and she said, "When I think of her, and I'm sad, this brings me peace." So I pray that this brings you peace as well. Good night, sleep tight. When you wake up again, you'll be dancing on the clouds up there in heaven, singing so loud. I'll miss you. We all wish you. We're here for one more day. I'll miss you. We all wish you. We're here for one more dance, or here for one more day. But here on earth we stand, and up in heaven you stay. You were a light that shined oh so bright. Your smile was the best, and your laugh was great too. I bet you can guess just how much we miss you. You can remember her only that she is gone, or you can cherish her and let it live on. She is saying, and again, Asha's words towards this friend. Let's absorb her words for her. She is saying, don't grieve for me because I'm finally free. I repented and got baptized and chose eternity. Just close your eyes and you will see all the memories you have of me. I'm not in pain, I have no fear, so wipe away all your tears. And I think that's when she was like in her chance era. She was really like digging into the rhymes and trying to make it flow. Wipe away all your tears. Once a day or maybe more, please come knocking on my daydream door. We can talk for a while, even all night, or I can sit with you and we can let it be quiet. In your life, you touched so many. You're probably looking down from heaven way up above, sending us smiles with days of sunshine and showers of love. Now, sadly, gone from us, that smiling face, your cheerful ways, and a heart that won so many friends in happier days. Her life made beautiful by kindly deeds and her helping hands for others' needs. To a beautiful life comes a happy end. She died as she lived, everyone's friend. The girl Asha wrote this for was one of her besties. And what brings me peace is knowing that they're together now, doing the same stupid dances they did in middle school. And now they're both tag teaming me, telling me to grow up, and I'm taking my time. Because of my faith, because I know hope, more importantly, because I know Asha, I know this pain is not the end. I know I'll see her again. But until then, let's make this celebration of life last for the rest of ours by honoring Asha Amy Weir, by loving others the way she loves, caring for others the way she did, and sending song recommendations and knowing the little particulars that everyone forgets. Let us be that version of Asha. Let us be that expression of hope to everyone who desperately needs it. Let's celebrate her life by the way we live ours, and may we never forget the incredible blessing she was. I want to end with a verse, John 16:22. You'll see it on your pamphlet. It says, now is your time of grief, but I will see you again. And everyone, let's take a moment. Let's rest in the fact that we will see her again. We will see her again. I pray that brings you peace during this unspeakable pain. I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. What a life, what a legacy, what an example. So let's follow, celebrate, and remember every chance that we get. We now are going to have a time for a few family members and friends to share. First, Michael, if you'd be willing to come share.
Before I say a few words about my sister, I just want to truly thank everyone that's here and everyone that's reached out. Support's been overwhelming, and I couldn't be more grateful. I also would like to extend my condolences to the families of Neve Rolston, Peyton Stewart, and Deslin Williams, who were also impacted by this horrible tragedy. I take a small comfort in knowing that my sister's last few moments were spent somewhere beautiful with some of her best friends. There really are not enough words in any language that I know to describe my sister. She was one of a kind, truly special, and she was always true to herself. She had an unmatched way with words. She always knew not just what to say, but how to say it. And I wish she was here to help me find the right words now. Growing up, people always said we looked like twins. In those moments, I would disagree, and of course, I would say that I was way better looking. Mostly just to get a rise out of her, and it always worked. But I knew I was lying, and I've always taken great pride in having any resemblance to my beautiful sister, particularly her smile that really lit up any room she was in. Asha spent countless hours on the side of a field in all sorts of weather, and all sorts of places, cheering me on at every one of my games, and she never complained. She was just supportive, and she was excited for me. And I couldn't have asked for a more loyal supporter. And even since college, she always knew my game schedule, sometimes even before me, and would be one of the first to text me after games I didn't know she was watching. How lucky am I to have had someone like that? As Pete mentioned, she had the best taste in music. I'd probably say that because it's the exact same as mine. We would send each other playlists and songs back and forth, and I really loved all the songs she would find. I was also always in awe of all the concerts she would go to, especially after looking up the ticket prices. But it really speaks to her ability to live life to the fullest and just take advantage of every experience and opportunity. And of course, as siblings do, we bickered and argued. She was so strong-willed and sharp-minded, truly the toughest debate opponent I ever came up against and probably will. But to me, the thing that was so special, truly, is that we would have our moments of disagreement, but they never lingered or lasted. And with hours, sometimes minutes, we would be back to just best friends, brother and sister. In recent years, when we were both visiting home from school or wherever it was, we would still have our small tiffs, but the very next day, she was always the first to message that she loved me, and that even though we were both heading back to school, she couldn't wait until we were hanging out again. And of course, without fail, a few days later, she'd be sending me dates, times, flights, or whatever it was, planning for our next time together. In the same vein, she kept me connected to my family. She was always much better than me at staying in touch and making an effort to be with people. She would send me texts 2 days before everyone's birthday, and often I was very grateful, as I probably would have forgotten. And other times I was slightly offended, like, yes, Asha, I know it's your birthday in 2 days. Similarly, with birthday presents, she would buy them months in advance as soon as someone mentioned something they liked or wanted. And when I text her the night before, freaking out about what to do, she'd say, "Don't worry, bro. I figured it out, and I put your name on it. Just Venmo me." She was truly selfless in that way, always putting others above herself. And she loved a good surprise, whether it was coming home from school to surprise my mom or flying back just 2 weekends ago to surprise my brother for his birthday. She had an uncanny ability to make those around her feel so, so important. Even though she was a home bird at heart, she did love to travel and see the world. She saw more in her short 21 years than many people do in a lifetime. And I'm so glad and grateful she did, because everywhere she went, she brought with her a light of hope, words of kindness, and a smile that brought happiness to even the darkest days. She really knew what was important, how to live life to the fullest, and in her memory, I hope to do more of that in my life. Whether it's traveling the world, or going to concerts, or eating at nice restaurants, or buying myself new clothes just because why not, or just spending more quality time with my family, I look forward to living more like my sister. I hope this horrific tragedy can serve as a reminder to all that knew and loved my sister of the fragility of life, and that every day is a blessing. As we try to move forward, allow the memory of my sister to remind us of what is truly important in life, particularly when we find ourselves stressed about work or money or small headaches or even at odds with our friends and our family. We must forgive faster and not take anything too seriously, because life is too short for feelings of ill will or unhappiness, and my sister knew that. Asha taught me to speak sweeter, love deeper, to be a better person, and I pray that her memory can allow all of us to do the same. To finish, I want to share a poem that a good friend sent to me and has really brought me a little bit of peace in the last week or so. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the sweet uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And now, Mark Weir.
Good morning, everyone. As I'm sure you all can imagine, this is not an easy thing to do. No parent should ever have to be there and to do this. My family and I have struggled greatly over the past week. And particularly looking back over pictures of Asha and taking time to gather my thoughts and remember our moments together has been very bittersweet. I could talk for hours, days even, about my baby girl. But unfortunately, I have to distill my memories of the life of Asha into about a few minutes and a few words. As I'm sure you're all aware, as Michael has already referenced, we're not the only family suffering right now. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the families of Niamh Rolston, Peyton Stewart, and Desmond Williams, some of Asha's best friends. Unfortunately, we as families will be forever joined together as a result of this terrible event. And my thoughts and prayers go out to all of Asha's close friends, Pepperdine, here in PA, and back in Northern Ireland. It's a life taken way too soon, and I hope that all those young people can embrace and enjoy life. Before I give you my thoughts on Asha, it's worth taking a few minutes to thank a few people and organisations. Thank you to CCV for hosting this celebration of life service today. Thank you to Pepperdine for providing Asha with such a wonderful experience for the past few years and providing her family with such tremendous support over this past terrible week. Thank you to all the friends, people and organisations here in Perkiomen Valley that have helped Asha become who she was. The schools, the church groups, the mission groups, the swim teams, soccer teams, softball teams, field hockey teams. You all played a part. I also don't want to forget her formative years back in Northern Ireland that helped build her from the very start. So thank you to Lone Ends Primary School, Victoria College, Belfast, and her friends and family back at home. Finally, thank all of you for coming here today and being part of this celebration of Asha's very short life. Asha Amy Weir was born on 29th of May 2002. And from the moment she was born, I knew I was in trouble. From the very moment she was born, she had me wrapped around her little finger. I have wonderful memories of those early days of Asha as a baby and a young child. She'll hate me for saying this, but the pictures are down there to prove it. She was a chubby baby. And I always laughed at the way she would scooch around the floor on her butt. Asha was always smiling and laughing, and she had the most infectious giggle as a baby. She was extremely affectionate and loved hugs, and we've seen on the pictures how much she loved that, especially with her family, and I think most of all with her big brother, Michael. I can't tell you how many photos I've looked at in the past few days of Asha giving hugs to people in her life, to her mom, to her brothers, to her grandparents, her cousins, her uncles, her aunts, and all of her friends. And then, of course, there's the animals. If it was in any way furry or cute, Asha automatically loved it and just had to hug it. I do remember one exception to this, however. As a family, we went to Disneyland in Paris when Asha was almost 3. She was in awe and loved the whole experience, loved the place. She loved hugging Minnie Mouse. She loved hugging the chipmunks, Chip and Dale. I think her favourite was Pluto. But Asha did not like Jafar from Aladdin. Seeing Jafar, Asha burst into tears, buried her head on my shoulder, and wouldn't look up again until we were away from him. Throughout her early years, I remember the multiple vacations we took as a family. Asha quickly, as we've already heard, became an experienced world traveller and understanding how to navigate airports at an early age, a skill that obviously stayed with her throughout the rest of her short life. For family vacations, we often went to the Canary Islands, where Asha would come alive. Asha loved the sun, the swimming pools, the ocean, eating out, and ice creams. Asha loved playing in the sand and swimming in the sea. I also remember how Asha embraced the Spanish concept of the siesta and loved napping during the middle of the day, something that I know stayed with her, especially as a teenager. At home in Northern Ireland, Asha was a perfect little girl. She loved dressing up, she loved animals, she loved pink. Her bedroom was a homage to the colour pink. She had her own sense of style from a young age and was very strong-willed and headstrong in making sure she got to wear what she wanted and how she wanted to wear it. Continuing the theme of animals, she was a great collector of cuddly toys and stuffed animals, and her bed was always covered with them. Asha fell in love with her first dog, Louis, a border terrier. I tried to resist him, but I couldn't. She would constantly hug him and hold him, going as far as putting him in her prams and pushing him around as if this dog was her baby. During our time in Carmavy Road in Northern Ireland, we were adopted by a couple of farm cats who decided we would give them a good life, and Asha in particular would shower them with tenderness and great love. In 2008, when Asha's younger brother Jamie joined us, she had a new purpose in life at the age of 6. Asha took to Jamie and became his second mom. Relegating Louis from the pram or the stroller to walking, Jamie now took pride of place in the strollers. We would at first laugh and then scramble as Asha would push Jamie up and down the hallway, only for the inevitable thud as he was tipped out and hit the floor. But Jamie survived, and Asha loved him more and more every day. Asha was always a good student, from her times in Lone Ends, through Victoria College, Evergreen, Perk Valley Middle School, High School, and Pepperdine. She worked hard and was industrious, and always got good grades that made us very proud as parents. But Asha also knew when and how to live life and have fun. Asha loved music and always had it on. As a child, I remember how much she loved Hannah Montana. That show felt as if it was just always on in our house. I remember when a Hannah Montana movie came out, and of course Asha and her friends, they just had to see it. If I'm honest, it was probably the last movie on earth that I wanted to see. But as dads will do, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, I took it on the chin and took them. Thankfully, I can't remember the movie, but I do remember the journey to and from the movie theatre. Asha owned the car stereo that evening and played on repeat the same songs again and again, the volume getting louder and louder and louder. And I honestly think that if Michael and I heard those today, we would suffer from some form of PTSD. Asha loved live music and concerts as well. I remember when Taylor Swift came to Belfast long before she was a global superstar, we all went as a family to that concert. In preparation for that, I remember Asha and Michael playing Taylor Swift songs together on Band Hero on the Wii. Michael, the guitar pro, and Asha on lead vocals, being her own version of Taylor, with Jamie bopping and dancing, and Vanita and I smiling and laughing, watching them. A couple of years later, when we were here, I remember Asha being a great fan of the Zach Brown Band and wanting to go to their concert in Camden. As I mentioned earlier, Asha had me wrapped around her little finger and knew exactly how to get what she wanted. She started the conversation with me about getting tickets, and over the next couple of hours, not only had she convinced me to get tickets, but how it was actually a really great idea to get very expensive tickets at the very front so that I could sit down because I was old and she was concerned about me. As a family, we've been blessed with some wonderful friends over the years. One particular memory I have is of our family and the Blackburns sitting outside enjoying what little summer weather we had in Northern Ireland. Aaron and I had a glass of wine, we were watching the kids, and our conversation turns towards Asha and how she was just so alive and effervescent. We came to the conclusion that Asha was going to take on the world. She was definitely too big for Northern Ireland and was going to end up in the US, and probably California. We talked about how Asha would travel the world and joked that at some stage Asha would be getting onto planes and turning left, not right. All this was years before we ever contemplated moving to the US. Our family's love affair with the United States began in Chicago and Florida. I spent time in both of those places with work, and we were often able to add family vacations to the end of one of those. We enjoyed many breaks in Chicago over the years, both at Christmas, which was very cold, and in the summer, which was very hot. We loved Navy Pier. Asha especially loved Build-A-Bear Workshop. As I've said, there was never an animal or cuddly toy that Asha didn't love or want. We enjoyed ice skating in Millennium Park, loved the Magnificent Mile, where Asha loved the buzz of the city and the shopping experience, and I remember how she loved staying in hotels and getting dressed up to go out for dinner. Asha could be so strong-willed and stubborn. And one evening in Morton's Steakhouse, she was determined not just to have a steak, but in her words, a big one. If I'd really understand the push-pull relationship that Asha and I had at that time, I would have let it drop. But pushing back in her made her even more determined to have it. So, as always, Asha had her way, she won, and that's what she got, a big steak. When the steak arrived, it was bigger than her, and I really thought, she's never going to finish that. But with her most stubborn head on, that is exactly what Asha did. I won't embarrass her with the rest of the story, but some of you already know the outcome of that. In the summer of 2011, our family was on vacation in Florida, and Vanita and I started to discuss the prospect of living outside of Northern Ireland. We loved the idea of coming to the US, but didn't realize how difficult it was to actually get here. We'd almost given up on coming here, and we were actively looking at Australia as an option, when I remember Vanita calling me at work one random Tuesday and telling me there was a job being advertised in the Belfast Telegraph seeking someone to relocate to the United States. I applied to Almac, and I'm thankful for so many of my colleagues being here today, and in late September 11 was offered the job. Then things happened very quickly. We received our visas to come in mid-December 2011. Vanita and I told the kids we were moving to the United States, and immediately after the conversation, Asha, who could also be extremely practical when she wanted to be, walked straight down to her room and started to pack. It was 2.5 months later that we moved here in February 2012, and Vanita and I often joked that Asha's accent changed the moment the door in the airplane closed. Asha could not get to this country quick enough. Asha embraced life here, making friends very quickly and taking every opportunity that was in front of her. Asha got involved and tried many, many things. She played softball, field hockey, soccer, and swim team at various stages. As I'm sure those of you that have children can relate, our lives very much became taxi drivers, always running and taking someone somewhere. Well, let's be honest with it. It can be very tiring and frustrating at times, but the best part of that experience for me was having time alone with Asha. In the car and being able to talk with her and get to know her, or I suppose more accurately, listen to her, as it was often impossible to get a word in sideways. When she wanted to, Asha could talk. Asha really loved life here at CCV and became involved in many, many things. I'm pretty certain that I drove her here at least twice a week for 5 or 6 years before she could drive herself, and that's a story for another day. One of the highlights of her time here was her involvement in the mission trips. She had such a big heart and genuinely wanted to do good things. To go on the mission trips, the kids had to raise money. Asha was never afraid of hard work and set about this task with gusto. Over a 3-year period, Asha's endeavours included making scarves, blankets, and chocolate truffles. As Pete mentioned earlier, Asha was absolutely the CEO of this operation and the foremost employee. Many a time, Vanita was enlisted and put to work as the #1 employee making the blankets, the chocolates, and the scarves. I was employed in a business development and sales role, and I always felt the sales targets were way too much of a stretch. But we managed to achieve what we needed to do, and Asha got to go on these wonderful mission trips and got such great fulfillment out of them. I'd like to thank everyone, and I know there's a lot of people here who have a scarf or a blanket, and I hope in some way you can remember Asha through this. I know that the chocolate truffles are long gone, although it wasn't that long ago that I was asked if Asha would ever be doing them again, or if I could at least find and provide the recipe. I've spent a few moments and told you a lot of things, what Asha did in her life. But I'd like to conclude with a few thoughts about Asha as a person. To me, Asha could be quite an enigma, often with contradictions and a contrasting person from day to day. I remember Asha being both fragile and fierce, being soft yet tough, being scared yet courageous. Asha could be serious, but also knew when and how to relax and have fun. Asha was a rule follower, but could also be feisty and stubborn when she disagreed with the rule. And she was a master of the eye roll when she didn't like what she was being told. Asha was industrious and hardworking, but also loved to take naps. Asha was fiercely loyal. She always got behind her team and her family. And as Mike has said, she was always her brother's biggest supporters, no matter what they were doing or where they were, or if she was watching it online. Asha had a huge heart and would always stand up for what she believed in. Above all, Asha was always full of smiles and hugs and laughter and love. And this is how I want to remember her. Thank you for being here to help us remember my baby girl. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Claire, and I, like many of you, had the honor and pleasure of knowing and loving Asha. Today, as I stand here, I reminisce on the last time I was up on this stage, a little over 5 years ago now at my HSM senior celebration in 2018. I was lucky enough to have both Pete and Asha read letters for me. Although Asha was younger than me, I always looked up to her. She was a mentor to me and so many others. Looking back on our friendship, there are so many memories that come to mind. We spent many afternoons at El Burrito in Phoenixville, where we split a burrito de pollo with no tomatoes and sour cream on the side, regular fries, not sweet potato. On one occasion after church, we were both so hungry that we each got a burrito of our own, and we were so full that we almost fell asleep back at the church before HSM. Needless to say, we never did that again. Asha loved music of all genres. From Chance the Rapper to Taylor Swift to the Backseat Lovers, our car rides together were never short of a sing-along dance party. I loved those car rides more than anything. Before she got her license in her beloved car, I often picked her up for adventures together to Rita's or Dunkin' or Home Goods, or even for a trip over to my house. My family got to know her closely over the course of our friendship, and she was even there at the dress shop the day my sister picked out her wedding dress. We loved her so deeply. One of Asha and I's favorite things to do in our downtime was to watch Vine compilations on YouTube. From the hours we watched, I'm sure we memorized thousands, and we quoted them often. We shared so many laughs together, and when together, we often laughed until we cried. She was so incredibly funny and had a truly infectious personality. She could light up a room with her smile, and she was always spreading love and joy to those around her. She brought so much comfort to others. There are so many memories I could share, and I will always hold them close to my heart, but I want to leave you with a quote from Asha that she shared in my senior celebration letter. Remember that even the darkest night will end, and the sun will rise. Asha changed my life. She taught me strength, forgiveness, kindness, and true friendship. She made the world a better place with her unconditional love for her family, friends, strangers, and for God. She helped me grow into the woman I am today. I encourage us all to live like Asha, to love others deeply and show it. Don't be afraid to laugh out loud. Dance like nobody's watching and be grateful for every sunrise and sunset we get to experience, because we never know which one will be our last. Asha wouldn't want us to mourn. She would want us to celebrate, to be grateful for every moment and memory we shared with her, to go back to all those old pictures and videos we have, and to laugh, to smile, and remember the good. She will live on in all of us. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Coco Crandall, and for the last 3.5 years, I've been honored and proud to be Asha's best friend. When I committed to Pepperdine, I didn't know a single person. I decided to reach out to a super cute girl I found on the Pepperdine Facebook page, and after one conversation, I'd felt something I had never felt with anyone else before. Asha and I immediately clicked, and we both knew we had just found our lifelong best friend. After getting to know each other over social media, Ash and I quickly began talking every single day, FaceTiming throughout quarantine and online school. And as much as I wish I could say we FaceTimed all night into the morning, we didn't, because Asha always went to bed so dang early. Through these conversations, we began getting to know every detail about each other: what we liked to eat, where we traveled, who was important to us, our goals and dreams, and every little thing in between. It didn't take long at all for me to realize how amazing Ash truly was. There were certain things that stood out that just made me fall in love with her. She was so hardworking. She worked days on end at that Starbucks so that her and I could move out to California together. She loved her mom more than anyone in the world. Her mom was her best friend, and so was mine, and we found comfort in sharing that love. She dreamed so big and set goals for herself, whether that be writing a book, becoming a professor, songwriting, or simply getting her through the week. She always worked to better herself. Once Ash and I moved in together, we were inseparable. We quite literally did everything together. We would do big things like take spontaneous day trips hours away, or even small things like go get gas for our cars. No matter what it was, we did it together. I quickly realized she was the part of me I'd been missing my entire life. She made car rides more fun, singing together nonstop, or seeing who could name the Taylor Swift song faster. By our sophomore year, we would like to think we were iconic roommates and besties, always attached at the hip. It was always Coco and Asha, or Asha and Coco, never one without the other. Soon enough, we left to study in London together. It was during this semester when I realized that Asha would have a piece of my heart forever. One time, I had just had the craziest travel day, with flights, trains, and buses being canceled. I was feeling exhausted and a little defeated. When I arrived back at the London house, I turned the corner in the kitchen and saw her drinking her daily tea. She opened her arms and embraced me with love like only she can, and I broke down because I was so relieved to be in the comfort of her arms. She had told me how happy she was that I made it back, and that's when I realized that home didn't have to be a place. It could be a person, and my home was with Asha. Junior year, Asha and I both went through some of our highest highs and lowest lows. But even when Asha was at her highest, she would drop the world to help me at my lows. I remember once I had a really bad day, and she skipped class to lay in bed with me and make sure I was comforted. She made me food and watched Taylor Swift videos with me till the night, and checked on me the whole night until she knew I was feeling better. It didn't matter the time or the day. Asha was always the most reliable, loyal, and empathetic friend. She just cared about making those around her feel heard, and that is exactly what she did. Senior year, the year her and I dreamed about since our quarantine FaceTime calls. We had it all planned out. From date nights to picking out dresses for formal to spring break, we had plans for every stage of life. her coming to my hometown this December to survive a Minnesota winter, graduation dinners with our families, visiting her in London once she landed her dream job, helping each other's fiancés pick out wedding rings, raising children who would eventually become best friends like we are, and being neighbors even though we wanted to live on completely opposite sides of the country. We thought we had our whole lives ahead of us. Asha touched my life in ways she doesn't even know. She was a part of me and certainly the better part of me. She showed me what selfless and unconditional love looked like. It is because of how she loved me and how I saw she loved her mom, her brothers, and everyone around her that I wanted to love more like her. So patient, so empathetic, so selfless, and so intentional. Asha exemplified unwavering loyalty. If someone wronged me, they also wronged her. She was there for me to celebrate my biggest victories, always telling me how proud she was of me along the way. Asha was genuinely the most empowering, selfless, and compassionate person I've ever been fortunate enough to know. Her empathetic heart made me realize how big of a difference one person can make, and I can honestly say she made me a better person in every single way. Like I said, Ash and I did everything together. From our worst days to our best days, we always found comfort in one another. This was one of the very few times we weren't together in the last 3.5 years. And while it's hard and I can't grasp why, I know that she's with me and with all of us every step of the way. A couple of days ago, it was cloudy and gloomy in Malibu. I was deeply missing her and felt absolutely devastated, so I went outside to talk to her, begging her to talk to me and show me she's okay. When I felt like I wasn't getting anything, I hopelessly put my head in my hands, and all of a sudden, I felt the sun beaming down on my face, and I could tell it was Asha telling me to pick my head up. She was always the brightest light, and she loved the sun oh so much. I knew it was her telling me she's okay, and I'll be okay too. My sweet Ash, I don't know what I'm supposed to do without her for the next 60 years or so, but everything I do is for her, and I can't wait to be with her again one day, eating our Nam pizzas and watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aji. I'm one of Asha's uncles. Today's a very emotional day for us all as we remember not just Asha, but those 3 other beautiful girls, good souls whose lives were taken from us oh too early on the Pacific Coast Highway. And our thoughts go out to their family and friends today. The theme for this year at Asha's beloved Pepperdine University is light. Asha was and is our light. Warm, radiant, always traveling and unerring in her journey. Although our world is less bright for losing Asha, her flame will never be extinguished in our hearts and in our minds. I listened very carefully to what Pastor Pete said, and I'd like to reassure him that he was not the only one that Asha told to grow up. Asha was a gorgeous child. She never got upset, even whenever Michael would drive his toy cars all over her face, whether she was sleeping or not, or whenever baby Jamie was squeezing her face with his chubby little hands. When we visited, she used to wait patiently, whilst Michael made me watch him kick endless rugby balls outside the posts, the rugby posts he had outside his house. 50 times in a row was enough, by the way, Michael, to prove how brilliant you were. But Asha would wait carefully, and then when we get inside, her favorite game was the tickling spiders. These are the tickling spiders. She used to love that. And she was probably the only person in the world who actually liked my Scooby-Doo impression. She had such an infectious and gorgeous giggle. Asha could multitask, though, even as a small child. I remember once, when she was maybe only 6, I'd phoned her, and as usual, I was rabbiting on, but there was no response. Asha, I said, darling, are you there? And she said, oh yes, Uncle Adji. I'm watching Dora the Explorer, but you carry on talking. I promise I'm listening to you. Asha, the adult, was a remarkable and special human being. She possessed that elusive brand of high IQ and towering emotional intelligence. But like us all, she had her challenges and her vulnerabilities. We would FaceTime and we would chat through her issues, and then whenever she was happy, she'd go, right, fine, Uncle Adji, that's it, that's that. And then we would indulge ourselves in a mutual passion of questioning our opinions on a variety of subjects, from the universe to cooking. Many of you will know, Asha was very adept at pulling together a wonderful meal from the most basic of ingredients. Her food was simply heavenly, and that was our Asha. I went to London for her 21st birthday, and we celebrated with meals out at her favourite Indian and pasta restaurants. And in one of these, she was very unhappy with me. Unfortunately, one of my many weaknesses is that I can't stand wobbly tables. I couldn't fix it myself. Asha rolled her eyes as if to say, grow up, Uncle Adji. I went to the restroom, and when I came back, I found out that she'd told the waiter that if he didn't fix the table, we were leaving. And it was duly sorted. And the owner remarked to me on the way out that my daughter was a force to be reckoned with. She'll go far, he said, and Asha did. It makes no sense that she will never fulfill her absolute potential. Asha was logical to the nth degree. When she, Vanita, and Jamie came to stay with us during the summer, I showed her a card trick. Well, Asha made me do this over and over and over again, to the point where she was trying to figure it out, and I was going, Asha, look, I'm just going to show you how it's done. But no, that was never enough for our Asha. She had to work it out for herself. Asha was always thinking of others. She didn't just touch our lives. She invested in them. And boy, did we get so much back from her. She made you believe that you could do anything. And it is her brilliant light that has brought us here together today. There is an ancient proverb that says that thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of that candle will never be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. There are too many people to thank individually. You all know who you are, and thank you all for coming today. And on behalf of my sister Vanita, my brother Amit, and all of our extended family, I'd like to express our gratitude for all the kindness and support that you've shown us. Don't think of her as gone away. Her journey has just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of her as resting from the sorrow and the tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how she must be wishing that we could know today nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of her as living in the hearts of those she touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and she was loved so much.
First of all, just thank you all for being here and the outpouring of love and support for our whole family. We're beyond grateful, and I can truly tell you that this is a really hard time. And all those messages and hugs, they just make it easier to get through the day. And thank you for loving my sweet girl in her too short life. I know some of you watched the Pepperdine Memorial Service, and you'll have heard how Asha consistently put others first. I also know many of you here today experienced that firsthand. In spite of her always cheerful persona, Asha frequently had her own struggles and worries. And she found ways to deal with these so she could get back to what she loved most, which was seeing others happy. One of her favorite things to do, apart from clothes shopping, getting coffee, and visiting Malibu restaurants, was to walk along the beach. Point Doom in Malibu was a special place for Asha. She found peace there and was able to re-energize, ready to go and bring joy to others again. So rather than me try to explain, please allow me to share Asha's poem about Point Doom. For a Moment of Peace by Asha Weir. One too many thoughts today. My mind is a crowded room. It is loud and overwhelming in here. Oh, silence, won't you visit soon? But when there's too much going on in my restless, racing mind, I tell myself what I tell others. To yourself, you must be kind. Do not get angry, and do not question why you cannot seem to escape your mind. Pick yourself up and go to the place where the cool Pacific water washes your thoughts away. Take a left and go down the path. Be careful, it is quite steep. When you finally reach the bottom, let the water kiss your feet. You can stand or sit, walk or run, but don't forget to turn your face up towards the sun. Close your eyes, slow your heart, and breathe. You're here. You're okay. Allow your mind to rest a while. Relax and be free. Free from anxiety, free from stress. Throw your worries in the ocean. Let the water take your mess. Inhale the salty air. Feel your mind release. And if the thoughts return again someday, go back to the water for a moment of peace.
As we get ready to come to the end of this service, I would like for all of us to just stand again as we worship with one of Asha's other favorite worship songs called Hidden.
trust you completely. Listening intently, you'll guide me through these many shadows. As I grow and as I change, may I love you more deeply. I will lean upon your grace, and I will learn because your goodness is unending. I wanna seek you first. I wanna love you more. I wanna give you the honor you deserve. So I'll bow before you, and I'm overcome by the beauty of this perfect love. This perfect love. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. So I'll call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours and you are mine. Now I am hidden in the safety of your love. I trust your heart and your intentions. And now I'm here in the safety of your love. I trust your heart and your intentions.
Let's pray together. Father, there are no words and not enough time to appropriately and correctly honor and celebrate the amazing angel that was Asha Weir. We thank you for the blessing it was for us just to get to know her, to spend time with her, to have that hug, to have that conversation. And I pray that we would continue to celebrate her for the rest of our lives by carrying her honor and her memories in the way that we love and live for the rest of our lives, God. I pray you bring us peace that nothing else in this world can. I pray you give us your comfort that only you can. And I pray that we would rest in the goodness of knowing that she's with you. God, we love you. We thank you for the hope that was Asha. Pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Real quick, I want to personally thank each and every one of you. She would love and hate that all of her favorite people are here just for her. But what a statement. What an incredible moment. What a beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you all for the role that you played in help in her life. And let's celebrate her. Let's honor her. Let's live our lives in memory of that. The family and I are going to be dismissed. And once we enter into the lobby, you all can be dismissed and refreshments will be available till around 1:30 or 2. Thank you again.
till my love took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Take my love, take it down. Climb a mountain and turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide bring it down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide bring it down. Oh, the landslide bring it down.
Honey, honey, get the kids in the car now. With the cash in the trunk, get the keys, let's go. Hit the biggest bank in Chicago. For all it had, we're the thieves you know. Remember the thing that I told you 3 years, 2 moons ago. Promise I'll be right behind you, but you're gonna die if you